you kind of, in your obsessive mind, you kind of started thinking about what we might talk about, and you gathered some images and some thoughts together.
Yes, I did. I have to say, I got a little confused. And somehow I thought we were supposed to give talks or something. So I started putting something together. So I'm going to go to that. But and so rather than do the whole everything I've ever been thinking about on this kind of stuff, I've kind of narrowed it down to sort of one question, maybe one or two questions. It takes a while to get to the question, but
just like me that way.
Yeah. Oh, I'm going to move some of these instruments, this Foley stuff. It's okay. But I could make kind of creaking sounds as I talk. Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay, so one of the questions is sort of related to an even bigger question, which is, why do we make art? Why do we create? Why do we write? Why do we do these things? Why do we dress up? Why do we build buildings? Why do we make shows and perform and do all this stuff? Okay, so the traditional evolutionary explanation is that the bird of paradise, there's one of them. Let's see if we can go. Oh, there's another one. That they have what would be called burdensome ornamentation. It's not practical. You can't fly very well with all that stuff. But the traditional view is that these kinds of things, including the peacock's tail, are utilitarian, that they show the potential mate, oh, look, this guy, in many cases it's a guy, in many cases in this thing, it's the female who's deciding, is this guy worth it or not? And you look at the tail or you look at the bird of paradise and you go, he's put so much energy into that useless stuff. He must be really healthy to be able to do that, to be able to adapt to and be the kind of being that can be to do all this useless stuff. And well, the males do it too. The males grow bigger and bigger, kind of antlers and horns, and they sometimes in the male end of it is weaponry, like guns and rockets and planes and stuff. But in the animal world, it's big horns. Yes. That's not making art yet, but it's getting there. But it's all about, in this traditional view, it's all about trying to find a mate. And so I went online, and this says that to a woman, this is what the internet claims, to a woman, this guy is more desirable than that guy. I can't explain it, but that's what the internet says. And vice versa, the internet will explain to us how a woman should dress to attract that guy, who's obviously, he's really got it all happening. Now we're going to get to making things, because so far it's just all about physical appearance. But the same idea extends to making things. And here's the nest of the bower of a bowerbird. I'm assuming that some of you have heard of bowerbirds. And they do a lot of decorating. The male bowerbird collects all this stuff, and they have all different ones. This one is like a little cave, right? And puts and if one little orange thing is out of place, he'll know. The silly scientists will come in and move one and go, let's see if he notices. He notices, and he puts it back. So their artwork, if you want to call it that, they know what they're doing. They know exactly how they want it to look, and it's very considered. And sometimes, sometimes it works. Sometimes the lady appreciates what he has created. Sometimes there's a little bribery involved. Okay, so this raises the question of whether exhibiting skills at making things, making art, writing, doing all the things I talked about, if that grants you reproductive success. So Darwin himself, his next book after Origin of the Species was called The Descent of Man, and in that one he raised the idea of sexual selection. And sexual selection, he said, is usually the female, and it decides whether to go based mainly on beauty. This was not a popular idea for a couple of reasons. The idea that animals wouldn't have a utilitarian criteria, that they were just looking and go, this guy is beautiful, and he's got money, or he makes a beautiful bower and decorates it beautifully. I'm going with him. That they didn't like the idea of beauty, and they didn't like the idea, and they still don't, that it's the woman who decides. So there's a recent book by a guy named Richard Prum who says that, sorry, I'm going to another page. Sorry, I'm going as fast as I can here. Prum says that he's very much focuses on birds. He came out with a book called The Evolution of Beauty. It's highly recommended. He says birds are beautiful because they're beautiful to themselves. There's not a utilitarian value. They find other birds beautiful, and if it's the male who has the plumage, the female adapts, evolves to appreciate what the male's doing. It's like a runaway thing. Then the male kind of ups it, raises the bar, grows bigger feathers and whatever, and she's going, I think I like that even better. So that keeps going. So I wondered if animals like the bowerbird and others that make things are like artists. And I wondered, how do artists do? This is Picabbia's girlfriends. He's a notorious womanizer. And I wondered did these women all kind of decide, I'll have a fling with him because I really like his paintings. This is Goethe's girlfriends. He's a well-known author, right? Big personality, but he was a big deal. So, reproductive success, so far so good. These are, Picasso's girlfriends. They, maybe less said about that, the better. But, he has a reputation. Dora Maar is the only one who said, fuck you. The rest of them just put up with it. You wonder about evolution sometimes. So then I wondered about what about people like me? What about people who, how do we display? How do we do that? And does that help us out? Is that like our art form here? I wonder. Here, and if you want to learn how to do it, you can learn all the poses. So there's all this reproductive success, Picasso, some rock stars, all this kind of stuff. You get there's presumably some reproductive success, although I only have one child, so I have not been paying attention to this. But if that's all true, then what about, Henry Darger? There's his studio. And what about people, the artists, who never show their work, who don't crave that social acceptance, don't crave kind of women or men or whoever fawning over them. they do things in secret. That baffles me. And I'm seriously asking if anybody's got an answer to this question, why some artists do this. It completely, because following all that evolutionary stuff, it doesn't make any sense. This is the collection of a guy named, what's his name? Frank Johnson, who in his house, they discovered 2,300 pages of comic books that he'd written. This is, Goya. He did the black paintings in his house and never showed them to anybody. I mean, he had a few friends that came to visit, but he wasn't like trying to sell the idea and turn it into a house museum. Goya also did the Disasters of War series and another series of prints that he never even printed them. He did all the plates, got it all ready, and decided, better not. This stuff is a little too heavy. Now those are considered like some of the best things he ever did, but he never put them out to the public. Hilma, everybody knows Hilma now. This is a guy named Zebedee Armstrong, who had a vision in the early 70s about Revelation and the calendar, and that somehow by doing these kind of calendars, he could kind of figure out when the rapture was going to happen by making these calendar-like charts. And he kept those quiet too, never put them out. You mentioned Rizzoli, this guy Rizzoli, and he did, some of these artists do try to make an attempt to have their stuff shown, right? But this is this amazing announcement that he made to show some of his work in his house, and it was a 10 cents admission.
Once a year, 1 day a year.
1 day a year, and nobody came. He tried. So he tried, but a lot of them don't even try. So now I'm asking myself, this is the last part here, right? Now I'm just asking myself, what if we don't make art for those evolutionary reasons at all? What if we make it for the idea of beauty, the way the birds find birds beautiful because they're beautiful? But also, what if we make art as a way of understanding ourselves, the world, the universe, and our place in it? It's like our own, spiritual, psychological investigation. And it doesn't have to be thrown into the public as a commodity. It can be, but it doesn't have to be. That's where I got so far.